Welcome to the Relevance Report, where we explore the relevant stories that are shaping our world today. I'm Madeline McCarthy, your host this week. On today's show, we'll weed through the construction downtown and its impacts on Edmontonians. Next, we'll talk about driving problems and explore the challenges of taking transit in the city. Then, we'll hear about the traffic noise. Lastly, we'll hear a first-hand experience of driving in the city from a delivery driver. Construction in downtown Edmonton is an ongoing issue among Edmontonians who work, live, and study in the city's core. But what's affecting traffic patterns, transit routes, and pedestrian movements? I'll dive into the west expansion of the LRT and all the challenges it presents to getting around downtown right now. Hi, I'm Madeline, a third-year journalism student, and I just wanted to talk about the construction of the downtown area, who it affects the most, and my own opinions and experiences with it since starting university. I want to start with why there have been major closures around the 104th Ave area, just to inform anyone who's unaware of its purpose. 104th Avenue from 105th Street to 121st Street is currently under construction as part of the City of Edmonton's plans to expand the LRT Valley Line West. This expansion project is predicted to run until the end of November this year, where it will finally be completed, I hope. Obviously, infrastructure for public transportation is important, and it's known that it will take time, as we've seen with the original Valley Line construction, but it's still a detriment to me and other Edmontonians who either live, work, or go to school in the downtown area. This project has brought detours for bus routes and general traffic, as well as a loss of walkability around the 104th Ave corridor. For me personally, the bus I take downtown for school and work has had 2 detours implemented, and it affects access to places like the Churchill LRT station. The bus also used to run along the 104th Ave corridor outside of McEwen, and now I'm dropped off a street away from the university, which is not fun in the wintertime at all. What makes this topic relevant is not only my personal experience, but the experiences of others who are affected by this project too. The ability to access businesses across the street from McEwen is limited by crosswalk closures, especially on 109th Street. Last Friday, instead of putting in my headphones and scrolling on my phone while I waited for my late bus, I instead watched the people around me and how they're dealing with the construction as pedestrians. They either resigned themselves to the detour and crossed on 103rd Ave, or they simply jaywalked across the busy 109th Street behind the construction site. This troubled me because the construction was enabling this behavior, which could be dangerous on such a busy street. But aside from this, the drivers were not faring any better. The bottleneck imposed on the road had me seeing unsafe merging between 2 open lanes, and many cars were getting stuck in the middle of the intersection in the avenue before the construction site. All of this to say that construction is important to revitalizing the city, and providing expanded public transportation is a good thing for Edmonton and Edmontonians, but it comes at the cost of citizens who are most impacted by delays, detours, and closures. In my opinion, the people who are the most affected by the construction are pedestrians. The project has limited walkability across 104th Avenue, where we see most people downtown. Hockey games and concerts at Rogers Place and events in the Ice District are impacted by these changes, as well as university students who need to access businesses across the street from McEwen. Taking the ETS can double or even triple your commute in the city. A trip that should take 20 minutes could take well over an hour at times, and for some people who take public transport, more confusion has been added to their commute by the many construction projects all around the city. Praise Odusote has more.
I think we can all agree that traffic in Edmonton sucks. Picture this. You're planning to drive from the south side to McEwen, hoping to make it to your class for 9:30. On paper, the trip should take you at least 30 minutes. To be on the safe side, you're thinking about getting there for 8:50, so you leave the house at 8:25. That should give you all the time you need, and if you want, you can even stop in Tim's and get yourself some breakfast. But of course, it is not a good day. In Edmonton, smooth is rarely on the menu. Why? Because you live in a city that has an undying need to constantly rip away at the roads to make improvements. Instead of a nice, smooth drive, you're dodging potholes and second-guessing your shortcut choices. From little research and lived experience, we can see that to get anywhere during rush hour, you should leave the house at least an hour earlier. Now, it feels like most people have put their faith in ETS, hoping that public transit will make things easier. But of course, it's just another letdown. Riding the LRT or the bus has become yet another hassle, especially as the city grows. There isn't a single place in the city that hasn't been left untouched. We keep hearing that all these changes are signs of progress, that the city is modernizing itself to make life simpler and better. Yet for most people, especially in the south, it feels harder than ever just to get from point A to point B. Instead of moving forward, things have been going on a decline. It's nearly impossible to imagine getting anywhere without a car. The bus schedules in the south is unreliable at best, and driving is just as bad due to endless construction zones. Take for example, trying to get yourself to McEwen, as stated earlier. You have to catch the bus at 8 and hope it's not running late. Miss that one and you're stuck waiting for 8:34 for the next one, which are both prime time for morning rush hour. All these supposed improvements feel more like obstacles, and many Edmontonians are left to wonder if things are truly going to get better. In this city, adapting to change is the only reliable skill. When it comes to getting anywhere we need to go, no one has seemed to figure it out yet.
Traffic noise is deafening in Edmonton. The city has been trying for years to rein it in to little success, but why have the city's efforts stalled, and what does this mean for the residents here? Sean Gorman explores the recent history of noise in the city, the measures taken to curb it, and what risk this poses to our health.
The past summer, you likely heard their noise all over the city of Edmonton. Motorcycles stunt driving on White Avenue, trucks rumbling down the Henday, sports car street racing over on Grote Road. While noise is a fact of life for many living in the city, the noise in Edmonton has been growing steadily worse, and Edmontonians are paying the price for it with their health. But why has the issue proven so difficult to solve? First, let's start with some background. Back in 2019, the City of Edmonton and the Edmonton Police Services started handing out $155 fines for noisy vehicles to try and curb the problem. Fines which have since grown in 2023 to $1,000 for the first offense and doubling for repeated offenses. The EPS has also launched the Project Tensor initiative, cracking down on speeding, loud noise, and unsafe driving across the city. Despite these efforts, however, noise complaints persist in the Edmonton area, with Ward Papasteo Councillor Michael Jans leading the charge to solve it. Since his election to City Council in 2021, Jans has long been a proponent for revising Edmonton's approach to noisy vehicles and traffic safety, launching petitions and advocating for increased fines and increased enforcement. This past summer, the City Council approved a new pilot project introduced by Jans that allots funding to set up noise cameras and microphones across the Edmonton area, which are designed to capture the offending vehicle's license plate and, potentially, if found to be too loud, issue a ticket. Even if they don't issue a ticket, according to Jans on his campaign website, the data collected can still be used to inform future Project Tensor initiatives. Some city councillors are skeptical of the program, though. Aaron Paquette, councillor for Ward Dene, has described the project as irresponsible and opposed the motion, preferring that money be spent on safety projects elsewhere. However, for Jans, vehicle noise isn't solely a quality of life problem, but a symptom of other related problems such as street racing and stunt driving. In the past, Jans has also been a longtime ally of Edmonton's Vision Zero project, which aims to eliminate all traffic fatalities and serious injuries on the city streets by 2032. The city has run into challenges as well from the province with enforcing and ticketing traffic offenses. The Alberta government this past December changed photo radar guidelines to ban their use on highways and connectors and restrict their use to school zones, among other measures. By restricting photo radar this way, the onus has been moved to residents to report noise and unsafe driving to the police themselves, a difficult task given that many vehicles are long gone by the time residents even make it to the window. In an interview for the CBC's The Dose in 2023, Tora Oyamo, associate professor in the Department of Geography and Environmental Studies at the Toronto Metropolitan University, our sensory system and hearing are trained to be vigilant, and while we may not be woken up by a given sound, our system will still register the noise and potentially trigger a stress response. In an environment swamped by noise, such as Edmonton at the moment, this can put the body into a state of perpetual fight or flight. This stress can have an adverse effect on our health long term. In a study on road traffic noise on preventable mortality in European cities for Environment International in 2022, they had found connections between road traffic noise levels and ischemic heart disease. In another paper on the associations between nighttime traffic noise and sleep in the Finnish public sector for environmental health perspectives in 2012, nighttime noise above 55 decibels was linked to insomnia and sleep disturbance in the general population, while those with high trait anxiety suffered when the noise was 50 decibels or higher. For now, while the city is hopeful the new noise cameras will be a good first step in solving the problem, it remains unclear how much they'll accomplish in the short term, and whether or not the provincial government will tolerate any escalation in fines and ticketing. In the meantime, many longtime residents will have to make do as they have, by staying home, closing their windows, and finding some way, somehow, to tune out the noise where they can. My suggestion? Invest in a good pair of noise-canceling earbuds and some white noise. It'll go a long way.
In Edmonton, driving is the best way to get from point A to point B without the displeasure of being crammed in public transportation like sardines. But what if driving is your job? Neal Yong is a delivery driver, and he shares his experiences of driving in the city on top of dealing with the construction.
What is up with the construction in this city? Like, I don't get it at all. It feels like it's been at least 5 or 6 years since we see if any progress has been done to the roads. And it just looks like they barely just gotten started at all. It's ridiculous. I'm telling you, it's just ridiculous. See, I work as a delivery driver, right? I have to drive around every single place in the city to deliver anything to anyone. And you can't get anywhere without driving at all. And on top of that, this city is already full of like terrible drivers. I'm talking about like they give anybody a driver's license these days without even seeing if they're actually capable to drive. You have these slow people in the left lane, people who don't signal, people who think they own the damn road. It's ridiculous. Now you add construction into this? Oh, it's hell. I'm telling you, it's hell. Oh, it's absolutely terrible. See, take the road on Stony Plain, for example. I feel like they've been working on it for at least 6 or 7 years now, and they barely made any progress. I see all these big holes, these carvings, these excavation things. It's ridiculous. It feels like they haven't made any progress in the past 5 or 6 years. It's ridiculous. It really just is. At this point, it just makes me feel like I don't want to live in the city anymore. I just want to move out to somewhere else, somewhere quiet, somewhere peaceful, somewhere where it doesn't waste my time on the road at all. I want to get from point A to point B as fast as I can, without anyone or anything standing in my way. In my line of work, time is money. I work as a delivery driver, so that's how I'm getting paid every day. And right now, with all this construction, it's just wasting my time. It's even worse when you know that you're given a place that closes really early and you're gonna get held back because of the construction in the city. It's ridiculous, I'm telling you. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Thank you for joining us for the Relevance Report. This week's episode was produced by Madeline McCarthy, Sean Gorman, Praise Odusote, and Neal Yong. The show was edited by Sean Gorman. The show's supervising producer is Sheena Rossiter, additional studio supervision by Sasha Stanovich. This episode was produced as part of the BCSC 206 Introduction to Audio and Video course in the fall 2025 semester. This course is part of the Bachelor of Communication Studies program in the Department of Communication at MacEwan University. The show was edited and produced out of the MacEwan Media Production Studio. Our theme music is called Buzzing by Kaylee Lambert. Additional music for this podcast is provided by Pixabay with tracks including Jungle Waves by Demi Sad, Lo-Fi background music by Dello Sound, Experimental by Rockot, and Dream Piano by Lexin Music. Logo design for this podcast is by Sasha Stanovich. And I'm Madeline McCarthy, your host for this week's episode. This podcast was recorded on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Nakota Sioux. We acknowledge that this territory is home to the Métis settlements in the Métis Nation of Alberta, Districts 9, 10, and 11 within the historical North Saskatchewan River Territory. Don't forget to subscribe to the Relevance Report on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And if you like what you heard, please leave us a review and rating. It really helps people find the show. Please join us again next week when we report the relevant stories that are shaping our world.